I know I'm early. I'm just going to glue. I'm just very tired and just tired. So I'm just going to do some gluing. And when I'm tired and stressed, I find gluing very helpful as a stress release. Hi, Kathy. Stress releaser, I guess. I don't know. I've got really nothing to be stressed about. I'm just, that general feeling that we all have, Kathy, that kind of oppressive, like, can it get any worse? It's just between you and I before anybody else gets in here. It's kind of wearing me down. Oh my. And how's that going? That's a lot of work. Bathrooms are tough. I've done a couple of bathrooms, many years ago, and they're really, because the space is so tight, it's really hard. I know you do. I know you do. Hi, Carol. Oh, not Carol. Scrappy. Oh, it is Carol and Dana. Hi, Dana. Hi, Carol. I'm not going to do much that's exciting. I was watching Carol. I was watching, going through the Zen stitching thing. And I did see, I still haven't made the purse. Hi, Beth. I haven't made the purse, and it doesn't really, I don't know. But this one really, Carol and I both signed up for the VIP Zen stitching thing, so we can go back and see them at our leisure. And this was one of the last ones. And I'm sure you probably saw it, and I printed it out. It's the Playful Studies in Shape and Stitch. And it's exploring line, texture, and space through textiles. And it looks really cool. And I almost thought about doing it today in the stream, but watching sewing is kind of one of those. Well, it's probably almost. You were watching this one today? Yeah, this one really intrigues me. It's six panels. The stitching is very easy. I mean, Canthor type stitching, straight. That's not a blanket. A whip stitch, seed stitches, and then she plays on negative and. Oh, there you go, Carol. Are you up for a paint along on Tuesday with Beth? And I was thinking her panels are 9x9. I was wondering, could you do this on 6x6 box, canvas squares and then put them together? Or is that too small? I don't know. But yeah, it looks really cool when it's all done. Let's see if there's a picture. Yeah. But anyway, I printed it out. I guess you can do them any size. I ended up buying 6x6 canvases. Hi, Joyce, because that was in some material list. So I got the canvases from Amazon, and I don't know what material list that came off of. But anyway, that would be tiny, and it would be, I don't know. I don't know. Hi, Belinda. I said hi, Joyce. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Space is a good thing. I have a couple of little things. Why don't I start out with the little stuff? I have a couple of little things that I can put in my little journal, and then we can move on to bigger things, so to speak. This is the little journal that Safia sent me. So let's I cut out a few little things. So why don't we start out little and move on to big stuff. Carol is saying hi to Carol. Oh, Carol's Crafty Canvas. Hi, Carol. Thanks for the pink hand. I appreciate that. Yes. So this is a little tiny journal that Safia sent me. And I started gluing in it. Maybe I can bring this down a little bit. I'll use my fancy auto highlight, Lydia. This is what we got done last week. And these are little tiny images that I have cut out. So I keep my eye out for little stuff. And this is little stuff, as you can see. But I like little stuff. It's just some legs. I can't remember what I was going to do. Was I going to stamp on this side? I can't remember. I left some of, I know. I was going to make some really tiny botanical doodly things. I was going to make tiny ones. So I'm going to glue this down. This is one of those, what's her name? The woman that does slow drawing. This is one of her things. You just draw, you kind of draw slowly. I did that. So I'll stick that down, and I copied this, cut out this little kitty. Came off the bottom of the box of cat food. So let's glue this down. I have a gluey piece of paper. So I got some, well, maybe I'll lose. Maybe I'll use this. Hi, Mo. Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Yes. That's great. So this is fine if you can use that glue, this glue, if your paper is not, if it's thickish. And this, I did this on watercolor paper, and then I actually peeled a layer off it. Did Barbara come in? Hi, Barbara. I see people saying hi to Barbara. I don't see Barbara. Okay. There's the kitty. I spoke to my son today and told him, oh, I made my reservations. And boy, I got to pay better attention. Because I didn't write it down, he's going to Utah just to visit some friends. And he told me that when I was making my reservations that I should go fly in Tuesday to Monday. And of course, I made my reservations for Monday to Monday. But fortunately, I'm getting in late Monday night, and he will be back from Utah to pick me up, because I'm not getting in until almost 11 o'clock Monday night. So he'll be back in time to pick me up. Whoosh. Man, that was stupid on my part. I don't know whether these glasses are going to fit. Let me cut them out real quick to see if they're going to fit. I know, because, they charge you. Well, I would have had to. Well, I would have had to take an Uber late at night and go to where he lives and find his place in the dark. And yeah, it would have been scary, stressful. And this way it'll all work out. And apparently they have the whole week off Thanksgiving. It's interesting. It must be a contract thing because he said they have to, faculty does some extra stuff. They put in some extra. Yeah, I know they can. Yeah. Um, the teachers put in some extra hours. I didn't quite understand. They teachers give up, do something. I don't know. But they get the whole week off for Thanksgiving, which is pretty cool. We always had to, had a half day Wednesday and then Thursday, Friday. So, and he's going to have, I guess, the boys also for when I'm there, which will be great. So I will be cooking Thanksgiving dinner, which I haven't done in quite a while. I think I remember how to cook a Thanksgiving dinner. It should be okay. Hi, Di. It's one of those things that you kind of remember how to do. Yeah, you buy some stuff and mix, buy a turkey, get a small turkey. I know these guys can eat. I don't know whether they like turkey or not. I know when they come to visit, I never seem to cook enough food to feed them all. But anyway, it'll be fun. And then my flight home, I have the red eye flight. I guess that's what you call it. Richard just kind of rolled his eyes when I told him. But he does that to me all the time when he tries to get the cheapest it fits, yeah. When he tries to get the cheapest airline, they'll arrive at 3 a.m. in Orlando, so I don't feel so bad. My flight leaves on December 1st, the following Monday, at 10 to 1 in the morning. It's going to be brutal. 10 to 1 in the morning, right? I have a 3 hour layover in Atlanta, and I arrive back in Melbourne, but it's Melbourne. But where Di is from, it's Melbourne. But I'm going into at 10:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, those glasses fit. They look cool. They fit. All right. I think I cut out. Let's see what else I have. As I was cutting out little stuff, got wee little rabbits. I never found. Remember, I had the little coffee maker and coffee mug. Uh, yeah, that is going to be rough, and it's going to be like in the wee hours. It's going to be like what did I say? It's going to be like I don't know, from 5 a.m. to. It's only like an hour and a half flight from Atlanta to Melbourne. So yeah, it's going to be. Hopefully, I can sleep. I do love watching people in airports. And I'll bring some. I mean, I can bring little glue. I can do little stuff. Oh, I have this cat, and this is a fabric cat, and a little cloud. So I thought I'd put the cloud and then the cat in front of the cloud. I don't know why I thought that would go together, but anyway, yes, this is a book of littles. That's a good description of my book of littles. Yeah, that is. I agree. I don't know what I was thinking. Apparently, I wasn't, but I'm flying something called Delta Comfort Class, which is right behind first class. And you get extra leg room, which I really don't need because I'm only 5'2". But you get a meal and beverages. Free entertainment, exactly. And I think Di was talking earlier today about they would, when she was traveling, I guess with her kids or and they would sit there and make up stories. They'd look at somebody and say, "Oh, he's a brain surgeon," or they just make up funny stories about various people. Kind of reminds me of that Simon and Garfunkel song where they're sitting when they're traveling on the bus and they make up different stories about people. Sticky. Yes. I should, you know what I should do? I should, I can't take I could take a picture, but that wouldn't be, but I could write it down. I could just write like a description of the person and then write down there, you see? Can you see it? Yeah. That would be fun. Okay. Let's see what else I've stuck in here. Oh, okay. I've got some like movies. Yeah. I just cut those out of Bizarre. It's Bizarre magazine. Stick those. I got a new magazine today in the mail. One that I don't subscribe to. Surprise, surprise. A freebie. They must know I'm a sucker for magazine subscriptions. I'll have to show it to you. It's called Decor. Probably because I get Architectural Digest. They figured, well, if she gets Architectural Digest, maybe she will like our magazine, Decor. Is it Decor or Decor? Not decoy. You know that decor, right? Not decor. Like decoration, right? Decor. Yeah, that's decor. Gosh. Like interior. I forgot I was going to order my Billy bookcases today. I forgot to. I'll do that first thing tomorrow. This week should be a banner week at the LAR project site. Should be. A whole bunch of things should happen this week. Whoops. There, they look good. What are your bookcases? Hi, Pam. Order. Billy, order. I need to order my bookcases from IKEA. Did I say water? No, I'm pretty sure I didn't say water. Order my bookcases. I haven't had anything to drink yet, so I don't know, Barbara. Order bookcases. I'm going to buy 2 31-inch and 1 15, so 3 bookcases. And I wonder how long it's going to take me to fill them up. Probably not very long. All right, I got all the little stuff. So I've got, yeah. I mean, there's actually 4 little signatures in here. Isn't that cool? I like that. I got a whole bunch of little stuff, but this is new little stuff. And then I have I think maybe we should start it. I'm also watching the football game. Yes, Kansas City, KC against Buffalo. And it was 7-7. Okay, so I will wrap this up like so. Well, it's 14-10 now. Buffalo's ahead. All right, for all you sports fans out there. Okay. Why don't we can go from this. Hi, Sue. Sue. I see a Sue. Someone said hi, Sue. Hi, Sue. Oh, Penny. A Penny. Hi, Penny. We can graduate from that one. If I can reach it. We'll go from this to this. I think this is smaller. This is 2-inch. All right. Well, let's see. These might be 2-inch. I don't know. Let me see. I got a ruler. I got a clear ruler. What size did she make these? Oh, they are 2 inches. Yeah, they are. Okay. Well, it's the same size. Okay. And this is, if you're not familiar, this is the 2-inch graph book that I found out about from Nicole. And I have a little pocket back here where I keep some images. So let's grab some of these images. And we'll glue some of these. I'll just something like that. Oh, I was talking about, remember I said I'd cut out a little coffee maker with some coffee cups. And I only found one of the coffee mugs, and I never found the coffee maker. That was from last week. Don't know what happened to it. I didn't look under here. Let's see. No, it's not under here. Some flowers are here. Sticker. And a star. But no coffee maker. It just disappeared. It just went, you know how things disappear. And then we'll just cover that up since I know I don't need that. All right. Let's look at some of these squares. Let me open this up a little bit. Put that like so. Maybe I can. Yeah, this is a fun book to work in. And I've been very good. I've worked front and back. And this was a bunch of doors. Duh. And the doors were too small. So I cut out 2x2 pieces of dark paper out of magazines and then glued the doors on there. And then I've also worked in the back so it doesn't get. This is a very, very, very fun journal to work in. So let's work from the back. I know I love the doors. And these are ones I just cut out, but they're too big. So I will cut them down at some other time. I made a little 2x2 viewfinder. So I'm looking at magazines. I can put this on it, a picture, an image in a magazine, and I can figure out whether I'm going to use it in my blue book or not. Let me stick this here. So let's see what we've got. So these are already cut out. So let's see what we can lay out and see what they look like. All right. Let's see. That's an image. I got a whoops, let me get down here so you can see what I'm doing. I got a person. I don't like that one. Let's see. Kind of like, is that the one? I don't like that one. Oops, that's Tiffany. Let's see, do I have any other? Oh, let's see. Got a whole bunch of these smiley things, which are weird. Let's see, I got some architecture stuff. Got a face. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. Stay in focus. Wow. Maybe like so. I like that one. That's kind of cool with the directions. Can you see? Okay, let's see what we got here. And these ladies, that's an ad that appears in a lot of magazines. All right, let's see what we got here. Whoopsies. I'm not crazy about that. Cruise ship. Stick that there. I'm not crazy about that. Chocolate cake. I think that's out of a food catalog. Let's see. Yep, look at that. Yum, 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 yum. Wow. Big ring. Stick that there. You see that? That's a 25 bushel bin, an apple bin. And when I lived and worked on Boyer's orchards and nurseries, my ex and I, on the weekends, we would go out into the apple orchards and pick apples for them. And they had these 25 bushel bins distributed throughout the orchard. And we'd go out there and we would bring a bottle of wine, literally some bread and cheese. And then, hi, Pam, and pick apples. And I can't remember what we were paid, but some ridiculously amount of money. Like, I don't know, $20 or something for a bin. I don't remember now. It was not very much money, but it was fall and it was gorgeous. So these pictures came out of like reminiscent. In the apple orchards, this place was outside of, look at those apples, outside of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Fond memories. Maybe I should put those, if there's enough. Yep, there's someone picking an apple. Yep. But you would wear this like canvas thing around your shoulder and you'd pick the apples, and then it had like a trap bottom. So once you filled it, you'd take it over to this bin and you'd kind of lean over and you'd release the bottom and you'd drop the apples into the bin. That is the one season I miss, is fall. Oh, look at that. Huh. Oh, there's a door. I've got to do something about the door. Let's see. Tiffany. I really don't have that many. Well, let's see if I can't. Probably should put the. Let's stick this stuff over here. I normally don't. Honestly, I normally don't arrange them because I don't really care. I know I should care, but maybe I will. I'll move this over here. This thing came from that series of apple orchard pictures. All right, we'll put the cruise ship over here. And we'll stick this maybe here. And I'm going to put all the apple stuff together. I'll just stick that there. There. Maybe stick her over here. And maybe I can find other stuff that can fill in with the apple, or maybe some more foliage for you. Can't tell whether that's upside down or not. No, that's the right side. Right? I used to, when I worked on this huge orchard, we called it Boyer's Orchards and Tortures. In the middle of the winter, I understand you've been working very hard. Yeah, I'm sure. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. In the middle of the winter, we would grade the apples that were picked during the season. Now, this orchard had migrant camps. It had 2 migrant camps. It was so big. It had 2 migrant camps. One for Hispanics and one for African Americans. And they would be done picking apples by the end of November. These poor people, they worked their asses off. They would travel by bus back down to Florida. And in November, they would start picking the citrus crops in Florida. And then by the time the citrus crops were harvested, then they would go back north and start with cherry picking. And then let's see, cherry picking was the first thing that came in. And then peaches. And of course, apples came in. And in the middle of the winter, if there wasn't too much snow on the ground, we would be out trimming apple trees. And then if the weather wasn't good, we'd be inside grading apples. They would store the apples in something called CA, controlled atmosphere, where they literally sucked the oxygen out of the warehouse and pumped in, I don't know, I can't remember what they pumped in. Oh no, Di, okay? Oh, that's right. Barbara's drying apples, right? I remember but they would pump the oxygen out and they'd pump some other. If you look on a bag of apples, if you look closely, sometimes the bag will say CA, meaning they were stored in a controlled atmosphere. I can't remember what gas they pumped in, but it allowed the apples to last a longer time. But I remember my first day grading apples. They would be dumped, the big bin would come in, it would dump it in a, water bath, and then they'd come out of the water bath, and they would come across on a conveyor belt. And you would just stand there and just pull out the bad apples for 10 hours. So I remember the first night I did that. When I went home that night, when I went to bed, when I closed my eyes, all I could see were apples going across on the conveyor belt. And then they would go down, and then they would be sized. And then people at the other end would bag them up, 5-pound bags of apples, and then they'd be shipped to places unknown. But grading those apples 10 hours a day, oh my God. Di has to go. Okay. Arg. So that's an apple story. Should probably break that up. Let's stick that there. But this place, that's that must be they haven't, a ride through the orchard. Now, some places they planted dwarf apple trees so people could go pick their own apples, and they were dwarf, so they were short. Oh my gosh, that sounds delicious. Oh my God. Sounds really good. So that would be like, that would be like what they call that, a tart? When you have the thin layers I'm assuming they're in a circle. You kind of layer them in a circle. Mandolins slice them, layered them like a flower in a cupcake. Oh, a cupcake pan. Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds delicious. Yeah, I want that. When I saw that bin, I wish I could remember what we got paid. I want to say $10 to fill a 25 bushel bin. I want to say $10. We didn't know any better, We were young and newlyweds, kind of enjoying the fall. I'm all sticky. Tort, yes. Diane is leaving, or Di? No, Di's here because she's talking about apple torts. So Diane's leaving. Okay. I'm confused. Let's stick these apples up here in the corner. But this place had, oh my gosh, probably 20, 25 different varieties of apples that they grew. So they had orchards where they sold the apples, and then they also had apple trees. Oh, okay. Where they had apple trees, like 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old apple trees that other orchards would buy for their orchards. And that's another thing we did in the middle of the winter. We sold apple trees to other nurseries. sometimes it would be my job to water all of these. They would be laying in bins packed with like wet sand, wet sawdust type of thing, and it would be my job to go and water all of them. And always when Kathy says when she's watering, it makes me think of when it was my job to water everything. And I just, oh my God. And it would take 2 or 3 hours to water everything. There was so much to water. I did not like that. They sold all the different variety of apple trees and pear trees and peach trees. And I think I told this story once before. A farmer, someone came in and they, by penny, they wanted to buy pecan trees. And I didn't know what the guy was talking about. Pecan, pecan trees. I said, sir, I don't know what a pecan tree is. I have no idea what a pecan tree is. He kind of got a little frustrated with me. And I called over, I guess the owner, the boss. I said, pecan trees? Okay. So 25 cents for a bushel. All right. It's a lot of apples. That probably fills one of those canvas bags. Turned out he wanted a pecan tree, but he pronounced it pecan tree. And I didn't know what a pecan tree was. Because I didn't really like the guy, because one of the first questions he asked me whether I was a girl or not. Because I had, heavy clothing on, a baseball cap. And he asked me whether I was a girl or not. And I looked down between my chest and I said, yep, I am a girl. Can I help you? Yeah, I want some pecan trees. Well, I think maybe, how about we'll put chocolate next to the, what the heck? We'll put some food over here. He worked picking apples for 25 cents a bushel when he was 15, riding his bike. His first real job. Oh, wow. Oh. Chocolate or what do I have on the other side of this? No, that looks like chicken pot pie or something. I like the chocolate. I don't know. Oh, well. We'll put the, put the chocolate. Put the glue on the side. What did I make work? I made I made $1.10. Working for them. $1.10 an hour. But we got the house for rent. We lived in one of their houses on one of their farms for free. So that was the bonus. Because that's how they got to be such a large orchard and nursery. They bought up, over many, many years, they bought up smaller farms. And the farm that we lived on was called the Cadle Farm. So all the places had names. So we were on the Cadle Farm. Obviously, it had been owned by the Cadles. And we lived in a beautiful 2-story brick house that had probably been built just before the Civil War. And it had the wide plank wooden floors with the handmade, nails. It was a beautiful place. Out in the middle of the orchards. And there was an acre pond on this, the cattle farm. And I was telling somebody earlier, I don't know whether today or yesterday, but since we had this pond on this, there was a big barn that wasn't really being used. Hi, Jennifer. And it was an acre pond. And the owner of this orchard, they had a pond, and she had ducks and geese on her pond. So we decided, gee, wouldn't that be fun to get some geese? So we ordered the geese in the mail. So we got a notice from the post office saying that our geese had arrived, and they were alive. They were 6 goslings in a crate. And they were known as weeders. And they would eat the weeds around the perimeter of the pond. So that's the variety we got. They were known as weeders. So. And my ex led them to the pond. He became the mama goose. Whoops. Uh-oh, what happened? We still there? Yeah. We let him out of the crate, and I don't know, he just walked towards the pond, and they just waddled next after him, and like establishing their little pecking order. And he kind of walked into the pond, and they followed him into the pond, and that was it. But by the time we left the farm, there was only one left. All the rest of them they drowned. They literally will look up when it's raining and they'll drown. It's really weird. They're not. So we didn't have to, and we didn't buy them to eat them. That was not our intent, to have roast goose. But we had our goslings. Then they became vicious. Treasure Trovember. Oh, add a thing a day for 30 days. A collage. Oh. So it's the same. It's hi, Ampex. It's the same like picture. And you just add like a piece to it every day for 30 days. Treasure Trovember. Hi, Jenny Roberts. Oh, it's in its 6 years. Oh, wow. Never heard of it. Interesting. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Jenny. I said hi. She gives you a prompt. And then you go find an image or something. Or do you make 30 different collages, or it's all added onto the same? Sounds pretty fun. I love collage and gluing. That's kind of one of my favorite things to do. Huh. I have to look that up. Treasure Trovember. I like that. Well, I see Louisa Hensel and Barbara are talking about December, the thing that they do in December. They're getting ready to launch that. I've tried to do that. Yeah, who's doing? That's a good question. Who's doing it? Who's responsible? It's 6 years. Wow, that's impressive. There's so much stuff out there, isn't it? We're so lucky to have access to all that, all the different things that people are doing. I mean, you can be as busy as you want to be. Collage Lab. Oh, Collage Lab on YouTube. Oh, it's your second year? I print it out. I've tried every year to do it. I've made the journal, but never been able to complete it. But that's a fun one to do too. December. I can't say it. Every once in a while I can say it. It comes out by an accident, it comes out correctly. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Thanks for doing that. There's the link, folks. Dig in. I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll put the two Tiffany things together. I love this. I love the Tiffany blue or teal or turquoise, whatever. I'm sure they own that color. You can do the prompts whenever you want. It doesn't have to be only in December. Yeah, okay. As a matter of fact, I came across I had a plastic folder. We're doing Tandem 10 tomorrow night at Dana's. Okay. Tandem 10. Okay. We'll have to, tomorrow night's Monday, right? 6 o'clock? Yeah. Okay. Just don't remember. On Dana's channel. Okay. Gotcha. Can't believe it's November. Oh, same thing, 10 items. Okay. Yeah, they always take, oh, I know. I understand. Yeah, it's very frustrating, Cheryl. It's very frustrating, and you just, believe me, it's going to continue to be that way. There's nothing you just have to be happy with the ones you've got, and then just knowing that, especially if there's like a big thing like a streamathon or something like that, and or whenever you get a whole bunch of new subscribers, they become so suspicious, and they take 2 or 3 away. And I don't understand why it's not like they're paying you any money. I mean, I guess they are eventually if you get so many subscribers, but when I look at YouTube, look at all the free content. Just look at all of the free content that YouTube gets from all of us. And I mean, just not just the crafters, but the gamers, and they get all this free content. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you need to not only sub, but then you've got to come back and make a comment, right? All right. Well, there we go. We got one page done. Yeah, they still take them away. Yeah. But eventually, it bills. very slowly. Okay, there we go. Got another page done. There's a whole bunch of those. So, here's all these women. It's a very fun, I think this is Janet Jackson over here. It's a very fun concept. And then what she did is, after she filled this in, there's all the smiley faces, right? She went back and added smaller pieces on top of these 2-inch pieces, because I had a whole collection of little tiny stuff before I got that tiny journal. So I pulled out my tiny stuff. So this is another tiny image on top of the 2x2 image. And I glued those on. So this is little tiny as a little bear, cat. So I had even smaller images on top of the 2x2 images, which is another challenge. A little piece of music paper. I think I only did that on, yeah. And this was Mackenzie's food catalog with, yeah. So that's, these were my Marilyn Monroe. I only didn't put the Marilyn Monroe in because I had to cut them down, but obviously she's recognizable as Marilyn Monroe, so I kept her. And here I did, okay, I had kind of a theme, all faces. Let's see. And then the doors. Yeah. So I got this book on Amazon. And the advertising dollars. Yeah, I know. I hear you. So that's my 2x2. And I can't figure out what this notebook would be used for in real life. Not, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't designed for people to collage on. I like to do that on the square. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So we did 2x2, 2x2. Yes, I love the doors page. Yep, I agree. That was a fun page to do. Where am I getting the images? Ads. These are ads out of magazines. Out of the magazines I subscribe to, which is Architectural Digest, Vogue, Time and Leisure and Travel. And I just, keep my eyes out for little images. And then I have that little viewfinder. So I can say, here's a magazine image, right? That's probably, I tore this out. Quilt sketches. To be a full page ad, full page in my glue, relax glue. But say I want these, I like these people here. So I put my little 2x2 thing down. And I could just cover that and cut that out, and that could be an image in the 2x2. Let's see. Maybe that. I mean, I pulled these pictures out to be full pages. Sketches my bad. So. This is obviously a travel magazine. And look at this. Isn't this cool? I mean, a lot of times, see that? Just that little image there. I like that little image. And a lot of times I will cut out like a painting off a wall. And this is AD, Architectural Digest. I know, I can tell. That's AD too. And then I'll cut that out. So maybe like this, I might decide I want that or I want that. But these were cut out to be put in my look at that bathtub. How would you like that bathtub? Yeah, and a lot of times in the index of a magazine, not the index, but the table of contents. Okay. If there is a table of contents, sometimes, like in this magazine, this is kind of big, but this is in the table of content. There's a full page ad of this picture in the table of contents. But you can see this here. You got a little sailboat, and you can again just make a 2x2 thing. I know, isn't that bathtub unbelievable? Look at the wallpaper. The wallpaper's insane, isn't it? Those fish are, they're kind of scary. I find the fish a little scary. And I don't know what that floor is, because it looks wet, but it's, yeah. That's rather cool. And yeah, and this is really pretty. And this is, look at the silver. Isn't that insane? Here, look, this came out of, oh, I don't know what it came out of. But look at these. See there, well, that would work. That would be a good 2x2. See, yeah. And I didn't even realize to look in the table of contents, because sometimes they have little pictures of what's, the bigger article. So this could all be, but I probably cut that out. And that's a full page. And I love this hand. I've cut this hand out and used this hand in several collages. It's one of my favorite hands. And look at this guy. Is this guy not magnificent? This will go in my big journal, my biggest journal. Well, I'm gonna say good night. Polished concrete, epoxy. Oh, okay, that makes polished concrete. Maybe I love this hand though. Let's see, this hand could be. Yeah, maybe. You know what it looks like? It looks like, what is that accent glue that you put down? Yeah. I'm going to say good night. Thank you for joining me this evening. Hi, Sherry. Oh, I'm just leaving, honey. I know it's early. My grandson's going to be playing hockey in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to watch him play hockey. Going to have a drink, maybe some dinner. And I'll see you all out on the internet. So I hope you have a good week. I hope I have a good week too. Yes, I think I've actually used that hand in the in the Forest book. That's another book I haven't glued in a while. Maybe pull that out on Wednesday. Okay. Well, thank you again for being here. I appreciate all of you choosing to spend some time. I know I didn't do much, but I'm just tired. I don't know. Just tired. So be good. If you can't be good, be careful. And be fabulous. Bye.